Now he's videoing you doing the intro.
I know he's doing that now, yeah.
20 seconds.
So you better do it right.
Yeah.
Because he wants to hear it right.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to nail it.
Yeah. You never have.
Yeah. But this is the one.
Okay, good.
How many episodes have we done already?
435.
All right, this is gonna be the best intro of all of them.
Okay, good. I like to hear that.
So I just messed that up. Hold on. The nice lady.
Do you have ads?
Yeah.
Do you have them?
I don't.
Sunday school, and to our listening ears, all angels sings and round us rings the music of the spheres.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to Penn Sunday School. We're broadcasting from Show Creator Studios here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Matt Donnelly, filling in for Michael Goudot, who's away juggling something. This week, we have Penn Jillette, the host of The Man You Love, the bigger talking half of Penn and Teller, here to talk to you all about the world of magic, Las Vegas, and his crazy-ass life as a New York Times best-selling author. Here he is, preaching the love, Penn Jillette.
You just pulled that out of your ass, didn't you? You just pulled that totally out of your ass.
Yeah.
With generic.
Yeah.
You really did that as though it was someone that never met me.
It's evergreen.
No idea who I am.
In case this is someone's very first episode of this podcast.
Yeah.
And they don't know why. How did it get on my app?
Yeah.
I guess I'll press play.
Yeah. Anyone listening to this knew more than you did. But you did do Show Creator Studio.
I got that in.
Because he's videoing this.
I got that part in.
And that's the only important part.
Yeah.
Because we are at Show Creator Studio, and you wanted to do a little thing that showed they do mention Show Creator Studio. This is evidence.
Yeah.
It's evidence.
And this is actually when he puts that video together, and they don't know who you are.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I nailed
You
it.
solved everything. Yeah. Have you been happy here at Show Creator Studio?
I love it here.
It's not.
I mean, I literally moved my own business here, so yes, I do love it.
Yeah.
Here.
Well, you know, I used to have a studio in my house, and I thought that was really wonderful, and I was really happy with that. And then I blew up my house. I drove a tank through it.
Yeah.
And I got a different house where I didn't want to put a studio in and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think I like driving to a place and doing it. This is a good place.
Yeah. You're a pretty organized person, but they sometimes typically even sometimes warn people about working from home. Or that like moving your whatever, your practice, your studio, whatever, into your home, that it can get a little crazy.
Well, I was reading the interview with Lady Gaga in the New York Times about her Star is Bought movie coming out. And she has bought Frank Zappa's house.
Really?
It's not where she lives.
No.
She has a big house in Malibu because Lady Gaga is wealthy.
Yes.
And she's chosen to use her money in those ways.
Yeah.
You know, she has not bought a diamond-encrusted turtle that I know of.
No.
She's instead bought a house.
Despite you offering to sell her your diamond-encrusted turtle.
I tried. It'll have to. I just wanted him to have a good home.
Yeah.
Sparkles. That's his name.
Sparkles for sale.
Yeah, Sparkles for sale. And she has a huge house. I'm making with my hands, but it's probably bigger than that.
It's bigger than a horse.
Bigger than a horse. House in Malibu.
Uh-huh.
And I was wondering who had bought the Zappa house. I was watching a little documentary on the YouTube about Frank Zappa, and showed his wonderful house. And he has underground places that he stores his tapes.
Yeah.
So remember what tapes were? Stuff like that. And he had people, he was working with engineers and stuff. And he has a recording studio there, of course. And then he has this wonderful house. That's Frank Zappa's house. And I knew that it was for sale. It's in Laurel Canyon, of course.
Yeah.
Where else would it be? And, you know, the Zappa Trust. And the Zappa Trust is, I think, a mess.
How does this come onto your radar? Because I know you're a big Zappa person. I think you like Lady Gaga. I don't know if you're like a enthusiast.
I said I was reading the New York Times interview. And
Yeah.
it's all being done at Zappa's house.
Oh,
Because
okay.
that's where she goes to work.
I was confused. I didn't know if the whole interview was about her buying this house or not.
No, it's not about that. But it shows up in it.
Okay.
It's mostly about what a fabulous star she is. Because she's in A Star is Born.
Did you see the original Star is Born?
I saw a few of them. They all suck.
I was going to say.
It's terrible.
I can't see you liking
Well,
the Star is Born concept
Isn't there like a silent one first? Then there's Judy Garland.
Yeah.
Then they did it with, I don't know, Maynard G. Krebs. And then they did it with
Barbara Streisand, I think.
Barbara Streisand, Chris Christopherson.
Yes.
Why did I go? I look back.
You often you don't like Broadway shows that are about like we're gonna make it on Broadway.
No, I don't.
Like you hate the idea of like the idea of stardom being the goal.
I really do. I really don't like that. I'm going to be a star.
Yeah.
It bothers me.
Yeah.
It troubles me. And I guess it's because I guess I kind of like the Beatles, and I believe the Beatles' goal was to be bigger than Elvis. I believe their goal was stardom.
Yeah.
I don't think it was Bob Dylan's goal.
Right.
You can become a star. I'm fine with you doing that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
If you've been holding back, if that's the reason Matt Donnelly,
I have been waiting and waiting.
Yeah, you've been wanting to not please me, displease me by being a star. You
Exactly.
You can be a star, but I think you should have motives other than just being a star.
Right. And I think for instance, like Bob Dylan, I think maybe is more cognizant of his stardom and his path to stardom than maybe he lets on in interviews.
Oh, sure. No,
right.
I think almost certainly.
Right. And there's a way of like understanding you're navigating that from a standpoint of like, I want to keep doing this the rest of my life, right?
Well, there's the song Counting Crows has me and Mr. Jones.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be big stars. We got different reasons for that.
Oh, yeah.
And that has always struck me as real. I do know, I have met personally a person in Las Vegas whose goal was to have a Vegas show.
Right.
Which it's a nonsense show. It's a nonsense goal. I don't understand that at all.
I got to recalibrate.
So, I just think that, don't you want to have some thought about what will be in the show?
Oh, for sure. And this person who we're not going to name, right? But
everybody knows who we're talking about, but I have no reason to say it.
You think that it was just a like a marquee image in their mind first, and then a show second?
I believe that is what he said.
Oh, okay.
I believe that was his goal.
Okay.
And we were on Broadway. It was always so embarrassing to me, because you're going to Broadway, and you're going to Broadway with a 2-person show. And the interviewers who are going to talk to you about this, they often would start the interview by saying, is this a lifelong goal to be on Broadway? And you don't want to sound
fuck
snotty.
no.
Yeah, you don't want to sound snotty. You don't want to sound
you pencil pusher.
Ingrateful.
Right.
You want to be pleasant about it, but it never crossed my mind to get a Broadway show. It never crossed my mind to get a Vegas show ever.
What's your let's practice Penn work in the press.
Is this a must-win game?
Yeah, sportscasters, sports people are amazing at that. Yeah. They all know how to do it now. They're even talking about it. Like even every 20-year-old basketball player and stuff like that now just knows how to talk to the press now. It's just ingrained in them. Like who's your friend that said everyone knows how to say there's a fire, there's a house fire?
Oh yeah, it was Lawrence O'Donnell.
Lawrence O'Donnell
explained that when Clinton went on MTV and did his little round table mic thing, and everybody thought, not round table, but town hall type thing on MTV, everybody thought he was so good with a microphone just answering questions. And Lawrence O'Donnell pointed out that he was just the same as everybody. We just crossed a line. And you see someone whose whole family has just been killed in a fire, and their dog is running by, and the dog is on fire, and they look into the camera, and they speak coherently in sound bites. Every single person knows how to do it. So now sports people are doing what?
Oh, they all know how to talk about the upcoming game. Like how to not give billboard material to the other team, but still say enough that they feel like they've talked to the press and their fans, and without doing anything. What do you mean billboard material to the team? So oftentimes you go they're a little slow, so I think we're going to dunk on them or something like that. That's almost goes like boom. They go in the other locker room like, this guy, this 20-year-old punk thinks he's going to dunk all over all you guys, and then that team somehow does better. hearing that this other team.
Does that happen?
It actually does.
Wow.
And it's the strangest thing, but sports motivation is actually like a real thing. Like it really does. You really can mess up, and it usually does come back to haunt you if you do it.
So you want to do a certain amount of trash talking,
Yes.
but not too much.
Yeah. So it's always like, well, these guys are pretty good teams, but coach is working on some stuff. I'm working on some stuff. I think we might be able to get in there and do some work. Stuff like that. And that's how it goes.
But then when you're out on the
Actual field
you say
field court
on the field
pitch
court,
for all of our UK listeners.
you say your mother sucks cocks in hell.
Yeah, they do. They say weird things. I think someone got caught saying to another player, your wife's pussy smells like Honey Nut Cheerios. And that was actually ended up being almost a fight after the game in like the guy went to the other team's locker room to call him out to fight him for that. That's a true story.
Because the use of the brand name?
Yeah, the guy.
He worked for General Mills.
Yeah, the guy's General Mills, and you can't call his wife a Kellogg's cereal. That can't happen.
I think it's because he was correct.
Yeah, it only strikes that chord. It only becomes a drop-down fight as if you were so accurate in your insult.
That you have information. That you
I think it was like that. It actually was explained as a trash talk infringement of bringing your wife into it. You can talk smack about. You can say anything you want about me, but once you bring in my wife, then it's go time. That's the way it was explained.
But who was explaining it this way? Because that really matters. Because it sounds like crazy people talking. Charlie Manson's dead.
The emperor of engagement.
No, really, who was explaining it that way?
The other players who understood the conflict. Other players who were around the conflict.
Now, when he says your wife's pussy smells like Honey Nut Cheerios,
Yeah.
Is he saying? I really don't know.
Yeah.
I need to have this answered.
Yes.
Is he saying it is unpleasant for a vagina to smell like Honey Nut Cheerios, or is he saying I have intimate knowledge of your wife?
I think it's number 2.
I have intimate knowledge of your wife.
Yeah.
And I'm going to demonstrate this intimate knowledge. But the guy who was being attacked,
Yeah.
knew that that was maybe not that it was a random thing to say.
Yeah.
Or did the guy, this is kind of going back to Reddy's question, did the guy believe this was actual reporting?
I think it's, it's a combination of a lot of things. I think, like when you watch soccer games, everyone who doesn't watch soccer a lot will then watch it and then be like, oh, the flopping is awful.
What's flopping?
Flopping is like if you brush into me and I act like you just shot me with a gun and I fall to the ground.
I've seen, I saw a YouTube of that, which made me laugh.
Yeah. It's great. I mean, especially soccer particularly, it's great. But, what you're dealing with is people who are just fucking exhausted. And so they've just been running around. And so they're looking for any advantage. And the fact that you do that could create a competitive advantage that's really unfair. And you're both exhausted. So you just hate the person for introducing a new element while we're both exhausted and trying to do our jobs. So you've introduced this new element that's going to fuck with what's happening, the outcome of the game.
Let's get back to your wife's pussy.
Yeah.
Now,
my wife's pussy?
let's put us. And then he pushed me in the face.
Chocolate or regular milk?
Unsweetened almond.
Now, do you believe? Now, these are. There is an incredible selection process, and everyone who is playing professional sports is disciplined and smart and tremendously skilled, right?
Yes.
This is not a pickup game. These are people who are being paid a lot of money
Yes.
Now, is there an advantage to the man allowing himself to get angry?
There can be. Michael Jordan was famous for like interpreting any kind of smack talk because when he was angry, he played very well. Mm-hmm. And when you play, 82 games and, the guy won, 6 championships in 8 years, like it takes a lot of motivation to stay that edgy. Mm-hmm. And so he would often, he would say like, what'd you say about whatever? And people would be like, what the hell are you talking about? And he would just find a way to think that you said something about him so that he could be angry at you. And that would like help him like get it going.
He was using that.
Yeah.
But once you've used that and you've won the game,
yeah,
why would you go to the...
Well, I'll bring up the example. That's why I'm bringing up the outlandish example, the one that created a thing where it went past it. Normally it doesn't, but it created that example is one where it went after the game.
So what you want to do, it seems like the smack talk you want is to go out there, look the guy in the eye and go, we live in a godless universe full of pain. None of this means anything, especially not this game. You're just tired.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the right kind of trash talk?
I think so.
Wouldn't you rather be home?
Yeah.
Boy, sitting on the sofa with your feet up sure sounds good. Want to watch some trout fishing? But I mean...
There are guys who've taken it the other way. Was it this guy Lance Stevenson would like blow in LeBron James's ear, like real friendly and intimate?
That's not friendly and intimate.
Yeah.
If you blew in my ear, I would not consider it friendly.
Oh, there goes my birthday present.
No, but I mean, there's something that's homophobic.
I think so.
That's unpleasant.
Yes.
That's a hateful thing because it's homophobic.
Oh yes. Yeah,
it's saying to somebody, don't we hate gays? And I'm acting like we are.
Oh yeah.
I don't like that one at all.
No.
But has someone ever gone, good to meet you, let's have a friendly game?
I think so. Actually, yeah, I do.
Wouldn't that rob somebody of their power?
I do. I think it does. Yeah. Yeah, there are guys that kind of do that, where they kind of go like, "Hey, I'm just a guy. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why this guy's acting all upset." Yeah, there's definitely people that take that tactic.
They do that after they've yelled something unpleasant.
No, or maybe physically gotten tangled up or something like that. Yeah.
On your deathbed, this is not the moment you're going to remember. You should go call your mother.
That's great. Psychologically reducing the importance of
That is perfect trash talk. That is perfect trash talk.
You should call your mother. I bet it's still fighting because you brought my mother into it.
Yeah.
But that's great. Yeah. I'm sure there is, but I don't know if anyone would have. I don't know if it would have hit the press. So I'm sure they've tried everything.
Are you tired? I'm tired.
I think that exchange happens all the time in professional sports, where they're allowed to just be like, "Man, 4-nighter, huh?" And that kind of stuff. Because there's always baseball players talking to each other at first base, and then they laugh, and they never want to say what they're talking about.
Well, if they never want to say what they're talking about, would it be embarrassing for them to say, we're just discussing how tired we were?
I think so, because then everyone goes like, "What? You're paid millions of dollars to just swing a bat and run around. What? You're tired? I melt iron for a living,
with my teeth.
With my teeth, I chew iron together until it holds. That's my job."
Yeah, well, it would certainly bother me.
Yeah.
Because I'm always embarrassed by people complaining about how hard they work when they don't work hard.
Right.
Coal miners complain how hard they work, fine.
Yeah, exactly.
ER nurses, fine. But I'm bothered by showbiz people complaining.
Yeah.
I don't think, does Springsteen complain or do other people complain on his behalf?
I think other people complain.
Yeah, I don't think he
It's not in his image to be like, oh, man. I mean, he also is the guy who stretches his own show, so there's no one to blame for himself.
Right.
The band would be like, really? Another encore? I think those guys probably go like, 4 hours in Oakland.
I love that video of them turning the power off on him and Paul McCartney. It's just wonderful. And then Springsteen's backstage in a really nice interview going, "Okay, turn the power off on me, but Sir Paul McCartney." It's like he invited him over to his house for supper, and then the microwave didn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just embarrassed about it. It makes me laugh. If you're wondering, and you might not be, about my voice.
Yeah. I am.
You am. I'm having some trouble with my voice, and I feel like an idiot because I am. But Mox and my wife are out at a horse show. They're out at Horseman's Park, which is a very good name for a horse park because I can remember it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Horseman is, by the way, a better name than cowboy.
You're right.
Horseman.
Yeah. And
many of the cowboys you see you don't associate with cows.
Was it founded by like Tim Horseman of the Henderson Horsemans? Or
Great.
It would be great.
be
You're
great
just like,
if it was.
I know, but it's my park, and I want to name it after my dad.
Yeah.
It's Horseman Park.
But we have horses there all the time.
Yeah, no, I know. I just, it's a coincidence. I mean, sure, my dad loved horses. It was a big park. The first people wanted were the horse people, but it was going to be Horseman Park no matter what.
even if it was a skate park?
Yeah, Horseman Skate Park. Who wouldn't go there?
So they can grab the tail, like they do on the buses.
Yeah. She's been at this for a while, your daughter.
She is, and she's got ribbons.
Okay.
And I believe all the ribbons up. I believe I could have paid $1,000 a ribbon and gotten off cheaper. They say if it floats, flies, fucks, or eats, rent it, don't buy it.
Right.
But now we own a horse.
You own a horse.
Yeah.
Your first horse.
Don't say that, please.
She's gonna keep doing what she's doing, right?
Yeah, but maybe eventually on her own dime. Not a chance of that,
With
right?
all of her Horseman sponsorship money.
Yeah. So she would like
Coca-Cola's thing jumping championship.
She talks smack to the other equestrian.
Just-
Don't you feel stupid with those braids?
Your stable smells like Honey Nut Cheerios.
So I try to be careful with my voice, try to be a professional. You know?
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I've had throat doctors say, if you want to keep going, doing your show, you have to consider your whole life to be a support system for your voice.
Okay.
That's what you have to do. So I have humidifiers.
Yeah.
I have vocal inhalers. I have exercises that I do. I'm really, really conscientious.
You've taken that into account.
Yeah. So I go out to Horseman's Park, skate park, and horse park, and to see my daughter, and then I sit by the stable with clouds of dust.
Oh, yeah,
like you would get in the Sahara.
Yes.
Because we're in the Mojave.
Yeah.
Blowing into my face. And then there's hay being piled up around me as though they were doing a bonfire. And you're going to pile up the hay around him?
We're just...
And it was coughing.
Yeah.
My daughter's there going, I was really hoping you'd come see me compete tomorrow morning. She said, you could be here at 7, you could be done by 11 and go right off to Sunday school. And I said, Mox, I work. And, I was flying from Phoenix, and now I'm going to complain about how am I right after saying that. But if I get 3 hours sleep and then do 2 or 4 Sunday schools and then try to do the show, I'm going to be miserable. I'm saying this to her while we're outside in the dust, and I have a show that night. So I got into the show last night, and during the pre-show, the whole crew got nervous because my voice was very, very weak. And, my mics had to be cranked up, and certain vocal stuff I'm used to doing had breaks in it, And because I sometimes use a different inflection on a punchline, that's sometimes when my voice goes out.
Right.
So it's really annoying when you're coming up to and you go,
You hit a break you didn't think was there.
yeah. So I was out at Horseman's Skate Park, and now my voice is a little weak. But I'm trying to be I'm slurping a lot of tea.
You got your tea there. Mm-hmm. We have ads.
Yeah.
I've sent them to you.
Okay.
I also have them up in my tabs on my computer, zoomed in.
Okay, I see. I got them right here.
Okay.
I'll do it in a moment.
Got it.
But we got another moment or two. So
Okay.
I was in.
Just to finish up the bit, Penn, You just re-signed over to Rio, huh? I mean, has it always been your dream to have a Las Vegas show here in Las Vegas?
When I was 12 years old, I was watching Ed Sullivan, and came on a magic act, and Ed Sullivan introduced them by saying, direct from his own show in Vegas, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't even remember who it was. All I remember was he had his own show in Vegas. And from that moment on, from the time I was 12 years old, I said, I'm going to have my own show in Vegas. I don't care what I do. I don't care what the show is. I will have my own show in Vegas. It's been my dream. Only one other dream I had, and that is I will have a show on Broadway.
Right.
I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's Equus or the Music Man. I will be blinding horses or I'll be leading a band. Makes me no never mind. I am happy to do Lily Tomlin's one-woman show. As long as it's me on Broadway, that's all I care about. That's all I care about. And everything else I'm doing is just to get to those two equal goals.
Yeah.
My own show in Vegas, my own show on Broadway. But when you have, so you don't want to say, I don't give a fuck about Broadway. Because I was very happy to have a show on Broadway. I was very happy to be doing my show. Yeah. But if you'd given me the choice, you can have the exact same amount of money you're making, the exact same amount of attention, right? You can have the exact same billboard space for your name. Yeah. But you won't be doing this show. I wouldn't have any interest.
Right.
You'll be on doing, Guys and Dolls.
Yeah.
It'll be Penn Jillette's Guys and Dolls. Penn and Dolls. And you'll get all the credit. You'll get all the money and all that. But it won't be that show. I wouldn't be interested.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I do other things, but I really like the fact that I think I would rather be doing the show exactly the way I want it in a couple 100-seat theater than doing a show I didn't like in a 2,000-seat theater. Yeah. I don't mean didn't like. I mean, it could be a show I like very much, but just not. What I like about the show is doing the show. Right. This show. And I want to do the next show that we're going to do.
You both like going to work all the time, and you also like having artistic input.
I do. I do.
And artistically expressing what you want to do.
Yeah, but it's not even. I used to think that having our things you wanted to do artistically were some blinding goal to say something. But it's more subtle than that. Some of the bits I'm doing, it's just, this is a funny thing, it's an interesting thing, I like this thing. It's not necessarily stop the war.
Right. No, being in magic, right? Like you guys do, like an example is you ended a Foolish episode with an act from your street act this year. Yeah. Where you did a street levitation. Yeah. Surrounded in the round, right? And that's cool to do that, but that's a trick that's out there as well. Mm-hmm. So you guys have to put on your version of it. Yeah. So you make decisions on that. Yeah. And that's nice. What you mean by you like to put your little input on stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it was someone else's script. I mean, I've done a few things. I was off Broadway in a show called Exonerated with, really, really wicked, crazy good actors like, Peter Coyote and Mia Farrow and just good people. Yeah. Crazy good people. Or crazy good actors. It's maybe an important distinction.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything particular about that.
No. Just the thought also popped into your head.
It did, with the names. And I was there with a script that was not only I didn't create, but was also an actual script of a man who'd been on death row. Yeah. For many years, was exonerated. So I was doing a speech that a real person said, and I believed very strongly in the cause. Yeah. I'm an anti-death penalty person, which is all of Vegas knows is the reason I was thrown off jury duty. Right, Did you know that? If you are categorically against the death penalty, you can't be in a capital case.
Oh.
So there's a whole movement.
I only remember the time you got out of jury duty because you had to do a magic show.
It was a different time. I would like to speak more of the noble times I got out of jury duty, as opposed to the cheesy ways I got out. This was a high-minded way to get out of jury duty.
Got it.
I actually wanted to do the jury duty at this point.
You did?
I did.
Yeah.
I wanted to, and it was going to be a capital case. And then people were getting mean about it. People were saying, if he says he will vote for capital punishment, then you have to take him and arrest him because he did a bullshit that said he did. Now, of course, I could change my mind,
Yeah.
but I didn't.
Sure.
I am against capital punishment. And they try to do this thing,
Who is they? Who's doing that?
the lawyers.
The lawyers.
Yeah. Because you're not allowed to be in a capital case if you're
So the prosecutor wanted to make sure.
yeah. Well, someone working for the prosecutor was already keyed up.
This is the intern really trying to make his big step forward on
This
that,
was a
right?
person who previously I had a relationship with,
Okay.
and who perhaps had an axe to grind. I don't know what kind of. I guess that's some weird version of revenge porn.
Yeah.
Fighting out someone's against the death penalty. What they will do.
Listen, if there's anything I've learned is that is the only time personal stuff has popped up and got in the way of legal proceedings.
So, they'll do this thing, right? The
Yeah.
people who are against the death penalty will do this thing saying, I've heard this argument said to me, all you have to do is say that there is a condition where you would rule for the death penalty. Let's say Osama bin Laden
man.
killed everybody in Manhattan, including your family, and you saw him do it.
Right.
Would you then go for the death penalty? Because if you can say yes honestly, then we can get you on the jury and you can vote against the death penalty. And you go, that's cheesy, that's sleazy. I'm against the death penalty.
That is strange.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just all of the things we talk about, like the majority of people casually understand things and have a kind of informed opinion about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then you encounter that and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize this is something I politically agree with. Having such like a politically motivated and like a systematic manipulation
Yeah.
to try to forward a cause, that just
Try to forward a cause with dishonesty.
yeah, that greater good ends justifies the means stuff.
And you know, the other thing they want to shut everybody up about is jury nullification. You know about jury nullification?
I know the term. I don't
Jury
remember it.
nullification, I don't either know. I'm going to make it up.
Yeah.
Because this is Penn Sunday School, where we make up stuff that's, sounds like you'd want to know it.
This is where I'm about to find out if my dad's listening. Okay, go ahead.
Jury nullification means that the jury is allowed to say, the jury can say, we do believe that he was caught with 150 pounds of marijuana. Bad example, because marijuana is legal now.
Oh, yeah.
We do
Not federally.
Not federally. We do believe
So this is a federal case then.
he was caught with 150 pounds of marijuana, which he was selling to school children. We believe that. We think you made your case wonderfully. We don't think that should be illegal. He walks.
Oh, wow.
The jury is allowed to say that. But there's been all sorts of
But the attorney is not allowed to tell them that.
right. The attorney can't tell him that. And there's been a lot of libertarians will say they want to get jury nullification allowed by the defense attorneys to say.
Oh,
So you
geez.
can come out and go, yeah, my guy did it. Absolutely. That shouldn't be a crime. You know what to vote.
Oh, my gosh. I feel like I listened to some podcast about this like years ago, and I'm not holding on to any of the information. But it actually was used, it has been used in like appeals process or something like that, right? I don't know.
It's been used all over the place.
Yeah. And
You
that,
have- Go ahead.
no, I was just wondering, is there like a famous example or quintessential example of it happening?
No.
Okay.
There's no famous example because they suppress that idea.
Okay. Where do you stand on that? Because that brings all of the dishonesty into the open, right?
Jury nullification?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, that's why I brought it up.
Right.
I think that have people knowing jury nullification is a great thing. I mean, if you're really going to have a jury of your peers,
Yeah.
they don't think what you did is wrong. You know, we don't think beating the shit out of that guy was a bad idea at all.
It's interesting because like then where you try to get your case tried would matter significantly from that point on.
Yeah.
Like
We
much
would-
more so now.
We would like to get my client's
Yeah.
trial for moonshining. Can we please get that moved to West Virginia?
Yes.
Because we're not doing well in Connecticut.
Not only do we believe he committed these crimes, but we are proud of him for it.
Yeah. Well, I was told by a defense attorney that the best defense that you could ever mount was old Joe needed killing, and my guy was the one to do it.
I mean, yeah, that's because at first you think of these noble cases where like, okay, that would be great, and then you think if that's ever used in any case where it's just really not a good idea, that's just awful,
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
Once you come up with, certain kinds of...
Yeah.
Yeah, we all know what we're talking about.
Racism is what we're talking about.
Racism and homophobia. And
Yeah, there's times like, I mean, that's the thing. It's like there's times where morality isn't democratic,
Right.
and that's where Joe's
Or sometimes the political people lead instead of follow.
right.
That time has passed, by the way.
long time ago.
We might as well be talking about Ovaltine. That was a long time ago. Long time ago. And Ovaltine may still be on the market. There's no doubt about that.
That's true.
And there may still be politicians who want to lead morally. But we're not thinking about either of those.
No. Man, am I wishing I had a decoder ring and something would pop up now that I could really like.
Well, you handled that pretty well. You want to try for a Wah Dyer? If we could keep Dave Donnelly on edge for the entire show.
Was Dave Donnelly okay with what I said?
He has. I guess he's not listening to you.
Life insurance is really important, but about 1/3 of people don't have it. That's because it's really hard to buy. You have to work out what you need, then do the research to find the best quote, and hope you don't get swindled along the way. It's not a good way to shop for anything. So Policy Genius made the whole process a wicked lot simpler. Policy Genius compares the quotes from the top life insurance companies to find the best policy for you. It just takes 2 minutes to get a quote. If you don't know the first thing about insurance, you've got all the tools to get you up to speed. Learn the difference between term and whole life insurance, calculate how much coverage you need, and be sure you're making the right decision. Over 4 million people have used Policy Genius to shop for insurance. So, whether you know a lot about life insurance or nothing at all, start your search at policygenius.com. Easy to remember the name policygenius.com than for me to spell it. In just 2 minutes, you can compare quotes and get an informed decision for you and your loved ones. Policy Genius, the easy way to compare and buy life insurance. Pluto TV is the leading free streaming television service. Watch over 100 TV channels and thousands of movies on demand, all completely free. Pluto TV never even asks for a credit card. You don't even need to sign up to watch free. Pluto TV is the easy and completely legal and moral way to watch your favorite TV shows and hit movies for free. What are you waiting for? Never pay for TV again by downloading Pluto TV. You can download Pluto TV for free on all your favorite devices today, including your phone, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, Smart TV, PlayStation, anywhere else you stream. Okay, the U.S. Postal Service is an important tool for any business. Stamps.com is the easiest way to access all the amazing services of the post office. Stamps.com never closes. Print postage for letters or packages at your convenience 24/7. But this is so good. The exact amount of postage every time, never underpay or overpay again. Mail everything from postcards to envelopes to packages, domestic or international. It's convenient, it's easy, it's reliable, it's efficient. We use it all the time.
Yes.
Everybody uses it all the time. If you have a business and you mail anything and you don't use Stamps.com, you need to start now.
Absolutely.
I was going to say you're an idiot, but better you should start now.
Yeah.
Don't you think? They'll send you a digital scale, automatically calculates exact postage. Stamps.com will even help you to decide the best class of mail based on your needs. We use it for all the director's cut stuff, all the sweatshirts, T-shirts you mail out, everything. Right now, you too can enjoy the Stamps.com service with a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale. Go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in
Penn.
That's Stamps.com. Enter
Penn.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Did you ever do a secret yet about I didn't say Minnie's crazy. She's fucking Pluto.
Oh, no, I didn't. That's a good one, though. That's a good
I think about that every time we do the Pluto.
Yeah,
TV.
yeah. Well, Pluto makes you think of cartoon characters. And now, did you hear about this? Pluto's getting so hosed.
The dog?
Now there's a 9th planet
Oh.
that's way, way, way out.
Yeah.
Way out. Crazy out. Let me tell you this, okay? If the sun, okay, no, let me get this right. If the sun were New York City, okay, and L.A. was like Uranus,
Okay.
okay?
It is.
This
I know it's
new-
crazy, but it's true.
This new
Both smell like Honey Nut Cheerios.
this new planet would be like in Japan.
Oh, okay.
It's further out than
But it rotates around our sun.
we can't see it. That's how far it is. It seems like such a jiver.
Are they selling me shares of this planet? What's going on?
We've never seen it. We have no proof of it except gravitation will
Yeah.
affect the other thing, and but it's just stupid.
It's stupid.
And especially if you're Pluto, I wouldn't mind if Pluto got in. They said, "Oh, this is the 10th planet. Come on in," but no, Pluto gets thrown out.
This is where we need. What was the legal term we just learned today?
Why do you?
Jury nullification.
Jury nullification, right? If if we were jurors of science, like we understand why Pluto is no longer a planet, but we like it that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they've also set up.
Give it an asterisk, but put it back on. Put it back on there.
They turned the whole Earth into a telescope to try to photograph with microwaves the black hole. We're going to actually try to get a picture of a black hole.
Wow.
And that'll be how it looks in the fringe. Because you can't get a picture of a black hole because no light escapes. But how it looks in the fringe will be there. And they said that this telescope was so powerful that it could, because the whole Earth is a telescope. What they're doing is they're putting all the telescopes together, radio telescopes together, and then they're going to put the data together and figure it out that way, all at the exact same instant. So it's pretty great.
Wow.
Also, too hard for us to do.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's one.
Like you and I?
Yeah,
Definitely.
I could solve. This is one I could solve. They said this telescope, when it was set up, this virtual, it's not really a telescope. It's a virtual telescope from little telescopes all over the Earth. They'd be able, from New York, to read the date on a nickel in L.A.
Whoa.
And I looked at that and said, you could just call the guy. What's the date on the nickel?
Yeah.
What, are we afraid he's a liar?
Yeah.
Hold it really still, wicked still. Hold it really still. Hold the nickel really still. Where do you have it? All I'm seeing is man's Chinese. Where do you hold the nickel? Tell me where you're going to have to be on the phone anyway.
It's true. Yeah.
But that's the kind of exactitude they've got on this.
Speaking of Pluto,
Yeah.
my kids and I went to Disneyland, kind of celebration of my kid's 5th birthday, my wife's birthday combo kind of thing. And the Magic Shop is a famous, Steve Martin worked there.
Yep.
The Magic Shop's been Disneyland forever. Yep. So I was like, I've never gotten to go to this Magic Shop. I want to go. So I go and I shop for a couple things, and all of a sudden it's just like, I bet they show tricks to I bet they show tricks to kids. I got my kids with me, bring my oldest over, and I said, will you show him a trick, And he busts out the light. The little light, and you throw the light around the room.
Sure.
Put it in his hand, make him throw it, lands in a glass. The guy did a great job.
Yeah, Rocco. It's Rocco's trick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delight.
Delight. Yeah.
Rocco's Delight is what I meant to say.
Rocco's Delight. Yeah.
And he,
Not to be confused with Rapper's Delight.
which also is great. And
Yeah.
if you can get someone to do it at Disneyland, fantastic. And my kid was like, whoa. And then, how'd you do it, Daddy? How did you do that? And the guy goes, well, maybe if your father buys it for you, he can teach you how to do it. Great salesman.
Good.
And I, great avoidance of salesmen, go like, well, do you really want to know how the trick is done? Yeah. And as I walk him out of the magic shop away from, I had already purchased things for myself, but I didn't think my kid was actually going to learn how to do delight at 5.
Right.
So I said, because I really want to know how it's done, Dad. Do you know how it's done? I said, I do know how it's done. Do you want, how's it done? How's it done? I said, Keeler, here's the thing. Magic, when you know how a trick is done, it becomes way less fun. The trick you just saw, very fun. If you know how to do it, you're not going to like it. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm just going to let you know that right now. Then you can know how it's done, but you know you're not going to like it. And he goes, oh, I really want to know, Dad, though. I really Pluto! And then just ran. Saw Pluto walk in Disneyland, and boom, that was that. Magic secret kept.
That's why I'd always wondered why by the stage door at Copperfield, there's always a guy in a Pluto suit. So I was in Mesa, Arizona, and doing a show at the Mesa Arts Center or something. Wonderful, wonderful show. Good audience.
I believe it's called the Horseman Theater.
Yep. It's called the Mesa Center for the Performing Arts, I believe.
Look at that.
And we were there.
You are a changed man.
And a guy came up afterwards, and I felt bad because I think I hurt his feelings a little bit. He held out a little gold like pendant in a little what is it called, glassine package, little clear envelope, right?
Mm-hmm.
Held it out to me, and he said, I'd like you to have this. And I looked at it, and I said, well, thank you. And he said, that is an exact replica of Mr. Stumps's tail. I said, oh, what?
Mr. Stumps's tail?
Mr. Stumps's tail.
Mr. Stumps's tail.
Mr. Stumps's tail. And I said, oh. And he said, I worked on the team with Mr. Stumps. And I said, oh. He said, yep, I was part of printing this, and this is the exact replica. Used the same files, just shrunk them down.
Do you know who Mr. Stumps is?
At this point, no.
Does he know you don't?
I think he was maybe a little bit hurt that I didn't know.
Okay.
Because turns out Mr. Stumps was national news. Mr. Stumps is an alligator.
Okay.
Mr. Stumps is an alligator.
There went my first 10 guesses.
Mr. Stumps lost his tail to poachers.
Alligator poachers, they poach tails?
I don't know.
I guess so.
He lost his tail.
Yeah.
And this group of people, they tried to, previously, for alligators that lost their tails, they tried making a synthetic copy of another alligator's tail and sticking it on, right?
Yeah.
A cast of the other alligator's tail. But with Mr. Stumps, some computer people got involved, and they modeled an exact tail for Mr. Stumps. Then they 3D printed it. Okay? They 3D printed Mr. Stumps's tail. And what he had given me, he said there's only 12 of these in the world, was the exact same file of Mr. Stumps's tail with different size things. So they 3D printed a smaller one because I didn't want a full alligator tail around my neck.
Yeah.
Do you blame me?
No.
Okay, good.
That's the least confusing thing I've heard so far.
Did you look up Mr. Stumps?
I didn't. I looked at the Mesa Performing Arts Center.
Look up, do a search for Mr. Stumps.
Mesa Arts Center, by the way.
Mr. Stumps alligator.
Mr. Stumps.
I can show you right here. Look at, see? Can you see this? It's like he has pants.
Oh wow!
See?
It is. It looks like a toy, like you would have like a remote control alligator. Like that's what it looks like, except it's a real thing.
Yeah. And Mr. Stumps, I believe, is back in the wild.
Oh wow! With a prosthetic tail.
Yeah.
They must think he was abducted by aliens or something, right?
Well, he was.
Yeah. He was given robot technology, and now he's back in the wild.
Yeah. Another kind of being came to him, took him away, examined him, and sent him back with a false part. Perfect.
Yeah.
I don't believe in alien abductions unless you're an alligator. Which case I think they happen.
Wow. And yeah, I don't know. Like all these questions, like was he welcomed back in the wild? But alligators probably don't. They're probably solitary animals, right? They probably don't have like a group.
I don't
Look
know.
how much I don't know about alligators to even question how this affects his
Well,
life.
you know the difference between an alligator and a crocodile. Shape of the jaw and how the teeth stick out. Simple as that. Simple as that.
That is simple.
One of my favorite animals is the alligator.
Yeah.
I seem to be and the Komodo dragon, by the way, venomous,
Venomous.
not bacteria stuck in their mouth,
Yeah.
but venomous.
Which I didn't quite understand the difference between deadly bacteria and venom.
Well, difference is where it comes from. Deadly bacteria just lives in your mouth.
Oh.
I mean you personally. I think that's true. And then venom actually comes from inside you and squirts out somewhere.
Some kind of gland.
Some sort of venom, hateful gland, kill gland.
Yeah. Okay. To me, as the person receiving the bite, not much of a difference. Scientifically, a big difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
Like if while I'm dying, if you're like, it's actually just bacteria, not venom that you're dying from, I don't get much comfort from that fact.
no, you don't get much comfort. But you go, we got video. That would bring you
Very
comfort. Very comfort.
Let me ask you this: if
Yeah.
you were in the wild,
Whoa. Riddle me this, Cape Crusader.
if somebody in the wild, if you were in the wild and somebody took your tail
Yeah.
and then they printed another one for you,
Yeah.
how do you feel about that?
Psyched.
You're not still angry about the?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, if it's the same species that took my tail away, and
is.
the same species that gave me my tail
It
back,
is.
that's a real mindfuck.
What are you doing?
It's kind of like, yeah, you're right. You're right. Now that I said it out loud, you're right. It's like, fuck you. Why don't you just leave me my own goddamn tail?
Yeah, I was doing fine. I was tailful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do I want a plastic one?
Thanks.
Yes, maybe.
Thanks, asshole.
Thanks, asshole.
I'll tell you, Mr. Stumps does look very weird without his tail.
Oh, that's no doubt there, I bet.
Yeah. See, there he is with his tail separated from him.
Oh, that is brutal.
Now, let me tell you the things I like about alligators. Alligators, no bullshit with alligators. Mm-hmm. There's no bullshit. Alligators do not move till it's time to eat. I love that. I love that they just sit.
Yeah.
You can see an alligator, just his eyes above the water.
Yeah.
No endless chatter, no monkey jumping around.
No.
No monkey jumping, no nervousness.
He doesn't bat bugs off of them or anything like that.
Is it time to kill something and eat? Nope. I'm fine then. And then when they eat,
They get to it.
they move fast.
Yeah.
I like not moving and moving fast, and I don't like the chitter chatter in between.
Yeah.
So when people ask me, and usually these are children, and they don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
When they were younger, Daddy, what's your favorite animal? Alligator.
Alligator.
Right away. Alligator. And not crocodile particularly. Crocodiles I like the alligators. I like the way they look better. The snout on the crocodile is less aesthetically pleasing than the snout on an alligator. To me,
Yeah.
I'm just talking about myself. I don't want to get tons of letters
From crocodiles.
from crocodiles. And the crocodiles be very mean in their letters.
Yeah.
At least you get a tail. They'll do stuff like that.
Oh, rub it in. Rub it in.
It's not Stumpy. It's Mr. Stumps. He has to say that all the time.
Exactly, yeah.
It's not Stumpy.
Mr.
Stumps.
Stumps.
Mr. Stumps. To
Thank you.
But that's that was. I also found went into a bookstore in Mesa after trying to find how hard is this. Is there a place around here where I can get like a cup of coffee and have Wi-Fi to do some computer stuff? What?
Really?
Yeah. Oh, you can go to the light rail and go to downtown Mesa. So I walk to the light rail. I figure out, which is astonishing for me, I figure out how to buy a ticket. Which,
Wow.
by the way, they never collect. But I get my credit card and everything. I go and I sit on the little light rail train waiting for it to start. There's a gentleman in there.
What kind of calculation is that, right? So you're not in the most densely populated area, but you got mass transportation in there, and you figure out the budget of paying someone to collect all tickets versus the amount of people who honestly buy a ticket versus not collect them, right?
So no one collected the ticket.
Right.
I just bought a ticket. And then I'm sitting there, and there's another guy there, and he's talking to me about Fool Us. And I go, oh, by the way, I'm going to be taking this train to the coffee place. Where would that be? He goes, well, to get downtown Mesa, it'll be no problem. It'll be a few coffee places. I go, good. Because I looked at my thing, and it said it was the way. I said, so this train will go? He goes, yep. I go, okay. So we send the train. And the gentleman I was talking to was in a wheelchair. And I go, so I'll just take the train, and I'll be down there, I'll get there'll be a few coffee places. He goes, yeah. I go, there's a place called Nile Coffee. It's on my app. He goes, yep. And I go, organic coffee. Yep. So they're right kind of across the street. I go, good. And I just have to get on this train. He goes, yeah. So I sit waiting for the train to go for 15 minutes. And the train goes, and it goes 2 blocks. And the guy says, you can get off here. Now, the information was all in the app, but I wasn't thinking.
No, and then you also, what's a block or what's this, the amount of whatever.
Right. It said 0.2 miles. And I was going like, oh, it must be weird stuff I'm on a train. But it was crazy.
Did you take the train back or walk back?
I walked back.
Okay.
It was much quicker than the train. Even if the train had gone right away, it was quicker. There was a bookstore, and I walk in the bookstore, and I'm just looking around. I'm not a big bookstore guy because I read electronically. I know you're supposed to love bookstores, but I don't. Yeah. But I'm looking around. It's not a nice bookstore, really, really old and musty and crumbly. And I come to the magic section. There's a huge magic section. And I say, well, you got a lot of magic books. We just bought a big collection. I go, oh. And I look at him and say, wow, I hope he doesn't recognize me because I know nothing about magic books. And I'm supposed to know. Oh, I know the name Dave Vernon. Yeah, that's good. Oh, look at this. Phil Goldstein. That's Max Maven. You got a lot of books. Oh, look at that. Oh, the encyclopedia. Oh, look at that. Fiery. Oh, yeah, cool. Oh, I bet Teller would like this bookstore. So I'm taking pictures of all the books. He goes, what are you doing? I go, I know someone that knows about these books. So I send the text to Teller.
Yeah.
Teller, I'm having a swim, then I'm having lunch, and I got to read this script, but I should get over there. See how it comes over. And then I'm at the coffee place, and I join him a little later, and Teller is going through every single book, hundreds of books going, oh, this is a pamphlet from 1941 that I heard about, but I hadn't actually seen. Oh, look at this. They have a different way to use a dye tube with a pigeon. Look at that. Yeah. Good, Teller. So Teller's buying a few $100s worth of books. He goes, these books are very, very overpriced, but I don't care. I said, okay. And then I said, oh, here's a book on the 1964 World's Fair. I should get that for Rich Nathanson. Teller goes, yeah, he'd probably like that. I go, I'm just going to throw it in your pile of books, and then you bring it back and then have someone send it to Rich Nathanson.
Teller, I don't know how to tell you this, but you have a really good idea for a gift for Rich Nathanson.
So Teller bought it. And then I saw these bookends that were flies that had been, I mean fly fishing flies, not real flies, but hooks with feathers.
Okay.
And the person, I looked at this kind of yellowed plastic heavy bookends with flies in them. And I went, boy, I love this so much. I love this so much. I got to have this. And I said, I looked at the back. I said, it's $40. I wonder if that's for the pair or each. And Teller said, do you care? I said, no. So I took these old bookends and I said, boy, I really love these. And I brought them up to the desk and I said, I like these bookends. He goes, you're a fly fisherman? I go, no, I just like them. And he said, well, you wanted me to want to buy them? I said, no, just leave them here. When that guy comes up with his books, have him pay for it, and then he'll carry it back and take care of it for me. He says, okay. So I put him there. And I go out on the street and I go, are you a fly fisherman? I'm not a fly fisherman. What I complain about most around my house is too much clutter, too much shit. Jeez, I just bought 2 bookends with flies in them. I'm an idiot. So I go and I sit down. I go to the place and I go, make sure it's decaf. And I'm reading, the week, reading my news. And I'm sitting there going, this teller will buy those bookends.
Yeah.
And then he'll carry them to the truck, and then the truck will take them to Vegas, and they'll go from the truck to my dressing room. Then the dressing room, my wife will probably pick them up at the dressing room, and then they'll go back to my house. And then she'll say, "What are these for?" And I'll say, "Oh, I bought those in Mesa." And she goes, "Oh, I didn't know you cared about fried fish." I go, "No, I don't care about fried fish, but I like these bookends," and I'll bring them into the into the house. And then I'll put them on a shelf, but I don't really need bookends. And they'll sit there, and then a year from now, I'll say, "Why do I have this? This is awful. I hate this. Get it out of here." And then I'll throw them away. So I texted Teller and said, "Have you checked out yet?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Well, he's going to tell you that I said you were going to pay for bookends. Bring them to me. Tell him you're not going to." Tell him you're not going to do that. Tell him, "No way. I'm not paying for your stupid bookends because I don't want them." And Teller writes back, "Okie doke." So there was a whole adventure there that I set up but wasn't part of.
And also the amount, the amount of forward thinking that you have for you to hold your possessions for the least amount of time. Is amazing to me.
I don't like to touch anything. You
No,
know that.
I know.
I was thinking about walking with that little book for Rich Nathanson. I thought, I want to buy this book for Rich Nathanson. And by the time I get it to Rich Nathanson, I'm going to hate him. But yes, if you are buying anything around me, if I have anything I want to buy, I will throw it into your cart. I don't want to have anything to do with it.
I know.
No. I don't like that at all.
The idea that I think maybe in the story you saw that World's Fair second, but I think maybe you saw the World's Fair book first and then started taking photos and sending them to Teller.
Lure him in.
Yeah.
The amount that I will do to not have stuff with me is pretty amazing.
Do you know how many books Teller bought?
Probably about 10.
I know magic-wise, you always say, read as many books as possible. Everyone says read. I always try to read, and then I don't understand, then I'm calling someone to ask them to explain it to me anyway. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if you don't look into those books there, you're mostly inspired then by ideas of tricks or things you want to do? Have you ever looked through a magic book and we got to do a version of this?
I do that with some card stuff.
Okay.
Because I do care very much about the card, and I do read books about card stuff.
Yeah.
But I read books about theory of card stuff and theory of mixing and how many shuffles you can do and still know the location of a card. That kind of stuff fascinating. By the way, that place is called Book Gallery.
Book Gallery.
It's in Mesa, Arizona.
And
if you go to that bookshop and you see the magic books, right across the aisle is the fly fishing books. And I bet those bookends will be put back on that shelf there.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you, all you've got to do is say that you bought them and send the receipt to Ready Rich at questionpenn, right?
Yes.
questionpenn@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Picture the receipt, and I will PayPal you the money.
Really?
I will gift those to you.
Whoever. It's like a scavenger hunt there.
Yeah, if you want to just go there and get that and say, Penn bought these for me, you can do that. Because I have a great deal of guilt over the fact that I told the guy he had sold these bookends and he had no chance of ever selling. And that he got a little happy, and then I made Teller crush his dreams.
Yeah.
So this is the offer. Send a picture of the bookends and a picture of the receipt with the guy there smiling.
Yeah.
Pay for it, $40, probably for the pair, because it wouldn't be $40 each. What do you want one bookend for?
Yeah.
I don't want either bookend, but not. Send that to Ready Rich. He'll send it to me with your email address. I will PayPal you $40 to try to make up for my sins. And by the way, if there's tax on fly fishing bookends, I'll pay for that. And if you get there on the light rail and it's less than $2, I'll pay for that too. Picture of all the receipts. As a matter of fact, go across the street to the Nile coffee shop, get yourself a cup of coffee on me,
Yeah.
Send the receipt for that too with a picture of it. You send all those pictures there, send them to that. I will reimburse you. Let's say the whole afternoon is going to come in under $50.
Yeah.
But I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
And then you'll have your fly fishing thing. So rush out.
That's a great story. You'll have this podcast to play for people the time where you realize that Penn was going to buy you bookends.
Yeah, it's a good deal.
It's nice.
It's a good deal. It's not as good as Banksy shredding, his picture.
Oh, that was
Greatest thing ever.
You must have loved that.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
I also love the fact that he pretends, he or she, or them,
The anonymous, yeah.
they pretend that it is anti-capitalist, whereas that guy who spent the $1.3 million for the painting
Yeah.
has now got one that's worth what, $5 million?
At least.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Because that's one of the most, it's like the coolest thing that ever happened at an art auction.
yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome.
And I also believe, I just want to go on record for this because if I made a fool, that's fine with me. I believe that the gallery had no idea it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I believe that they were not in on it. But I think we should finish up so we can do another one of these. That was Penn Sunday School.
That was Penn Sunday School.
Cha-cha-cha.
And to our listening ears,
You become naked.
all nature sang and round us rang the music of the spheres. That was Penn Sunday
And listen, I will call the book gallery guy. So if you go in there, hold it up, do a fake receipt, fuck you. I will never really find out, but don't do it. Don't scam me out of $50. Take it. Maybe you actually want fly fishing bookends.
Yeah.
You know why I'll buy you those bookends? Because I love you, all of you.
You know what I love about alligators?
What?
They aren't native to the Mojave.
Yeah, that's a good thing for them.
What's the alligator's name, Matt?
Mr. Stumpsies.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Stand by for episode 2, everybody.
No, I'm gonna pee, and Jared, I'm gonna need another whole thing of tea.
Okay, yeah.
Are we wide?
Yes. I'm telling you, if the same species removes my tail, prints me a new tail, and names me Mr. Stumps because
Stumps.
they took my fucking tail, that's literally adding
Oh, I
insult to
combined
injury.
the nickname and the last name, yeah.
Terrible.
I have no respect for alligators.
What time is our guest due?
What? I don't know.
Going to.
Is Glenn bringing him?
I have no messages.
All right. Do you want me to text Glenn?
I just did.
Okay.
Boy, that book gallery thing ended up really nice.
That was great. That was great. Anytime it's you messing with Teller, that's always good news for this podcast.
He's coming at 1:30. We should go. Hello, so long.
Take care, good seeing you lot. I'm off to the bookshop.
Okay.
Okay.
How many people are heading there right now?
Well, the live audience is much. They have a head start.
Did you have something you wanted?
Oh, yeah.
Do you?
I designed a deck of cards a while back together with a comic book artist, but I think the artwork might be the sort of thing you might be into. Interesting story on the back of that. Do I? You know, the USB.
Oh, the first episode we recorded of Abracababble. Is that going okay? Okay. Fearful.
This is Penn Sunday School.
After we start.
And to our listening ears,
I'm not ready to get through a second
all
episode.
nature sings and round us rings the music of the spheres. This is Penn Sunday School.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to Penn Sunday School. We're speaking quietly as to not distract Penn from doing his due diligence right now. He's been called out in the hallway. And, well, hold on.
Penn Sunday School.
Anyways, this is Penn Sunday School. It's a podcast. Penn talks majority of the time, but he's simply not here right now. I'm Matt Donnelly. This is Show Creator Studios in Las Vegas. Here he will be preaching the love. Penn Jillette.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Reddy. How's it going, pal?
We have nobody switching.
No,
now we do.
Switching.
We have nobody at the
We'll
desk.
talk this week about the camera thing. I'll talk to Amanda.
Okay, great.
I think
We're on the air.
do that.
It's true, but that's okay.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Ian.
Ian from Show Creators, everybody.
Everybody, Ian from Show Creators. So now, Penn is in the water closet, as it's called formally. And then we had this because Reddy is a stickler for time. We've started on time.
We have a guest, so
We have a
even if I
guest.
weren't a stickler for time, we have to be rolling.
We got to be rolling. We got to be putting content out there, and this is what the listeners demand. This is what people at podcasts want to be thrilled about. They want episodes of Penn Sunday School where who knows if he's going to be here, who knows if he's going to talk.
Yeah.
But that's what's going on there. Reddy, how was your week?
Bingo.
Bingo. So you work all the time at a bingo thing.
I work in a showroom that has been overtaken by bingo while the
Yeah.
bingo hall is renovated.
Okay. And what happened to the shows that were in the showroom?
We booked them into other casinos.
Oh, okay. So are any of them happy about the move and like hope this
No.
bingo thing takes forever?
No.
Oh, they all want to come back.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you allowed to say which showroom it is?
It's the Railhead at Boulder Station.
At Boulder Station. So Boulder is like a good showroom to be in.
It's one of the better showrooms for station casinos.
All this, for those of you who don't live in Las Vegas, station casinos are kind of on the outskirts of the main strip of Las Vegas.
They're the towny places.
Yeah, the towny places. So Boulder Station is by Boulder Highway. Sunset Station's off of Sunset Road. Those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So they're the coolest local casinos around.
And now here he is preaching love.
Oh, thank God! I thought I was gonna have to try to make it
Penn
more out of-
Jillette.
He's already rolling?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just did that to us.
What'd he do?
He started the episode, the intro and
He did?
everything.
He did?
It went awfully.
We're terrible.
Yeah.
But I have tea and stuff here.
You have tea? You do have tea?
Yeah, okay, I'm all set to go. Oh, we really are rolling?
We really are. Yeah.
And what did you billboard?
I billboarded like, why are we doing this? You're out in the hallway. I guess we're starting. That's what I did.
Okay. How long have we been going?
3
Enough-
minutes?
3 minutes. Enough that I was trying to explain what a stations casino was to all of our listeners.
Okay, good. You know, 731 people have lost 34,242 pounds. Did you know?
Oh, it just felt so good. Just hear him take over. It felt so good.
Yeah.
It felt really good.
You were kind of floundering. is that
I
right?
did, yeah.
Floundering. We got a few questions here. What do I want to talk about here? Oh, I did a lecture for Stansberry, which is a investment thing, and I've been told
Yeah.
that other people that do speeches and lectures, corporate stuff,
Yeah.
that they have speeches and lectures available. Did you know?
Right.
that?
Yeah.
I don't. I do these, about once a month or so, and I
In fact, you've even aired some as content here.
have, and I talked to the big cheese ahead of time. In this case, was Porter Stansberry,
Yeah.
and he said, what is your speech going to be about? And I said, I don't know. What do you want? And he said, well, I want to shake some people up, so talk about libertarianism, atheism, and Trump. So I went on the stage, and I said, I talked to the big cheese here, and he said, talk about atheism, libertarianism, atheism, and Trump.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, and I'm going to tie those all together. And I tied them all together with optimism and kindness.
Really?
Because that's my new thing now.
Yes.
It's all I care about. And it was really fun. I love doing these lectures. But I guess other people have a memorized lecture or even a written out lecture. I don't.
No.
I do my lectures just like I do Sunday school. Half-assed and wrong.
But once they're in the can, do you ever think to keep them in the can as its own lecture series? I mean, you have recordings of all of them, yes?
Yeah. We memorize it and do it the same way.
No. Just seems like you could just have that catalog for people.
I guess I could. I don't know if any people want it.
Yeah.
I had a heartbreaking thing happen this week that I want to report back because I report my successes
Yes.
and very proudly, and I think I should also report my failures. I went in to give platelets on Monday, like I do. I went to the United Blood Services, and as you know, I did my fasting, I did my careful diet, and I was off all blood pressure meds. And I was very proud of that.
Yeah.
I have this story I tell myself that I fixed my blood pressure with diet, with willpower. I did it. I did it all myself. And that there's an implied thing there that blood pressure is not genetic. It's da-da-da-da. It's just you've been doing stuff wrong and take care of it. There's a feeling about that.
Absolutely.
And there is a holier than thou attitude, I suppose. I don't like to think of it that way. But
No, I mean, from our perspective, I think you've used it inspirationally, not as a holier
Sure.
than thou.
Sure. Yes. I'd like to think that.
Yeah.
I'd very much like to think that. But so I went into, and I'm very proud that I did that. And I went to do my platelets, which is a wonderful day for me. I love giving blood and giving platelets and doing apheresis.
And you get a blanket. And
Oh yeah, and I get to read, and people leave me alone, and it's fabulous. I look forward to it. I do it about. You're allowed to do platelets every 2 weeks. I do it once a month.
okay.
And it takes about 3.5 hours, and I read the whole time, and I just love it. And I love joking around with the people there, and they're always so kind to me. And I happened to go. I didn't do it for this reason. I happened to go on the anniversary of October 1st, the shooting,
Yeah.
and it was filled up with people wearing Vegas Strong T-shirts and stuff. It was people were coming in remembrance of that, which I didn't happen to be. I just go in the first Monday of the month.
Right.
And I went in. They had a trainee there, and I went through all my questions. And I was in a really funny mood. And they slapped the cuff on me for blood pressure, and she went, "Whoa!"
Oh, no.
And I said, "Well, I've just been moving around. Give me 2 or 3 minutes to meditate." And I meditated, got myself really calm, and said, "Do it again." And she went, "Oh, no." I said, "Well, boy, your cutoff is really high, isn't it?" She said, "Yeah." And I said, "I'm above it." She went, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, let's try it once more." She said, "We can't." She said, "I'll take it again, but just for your own information. But once you've
Not today.
failed twice, you can't do it." And I was really embarrassed and felt kind of terrible. And we have stories we tell ourselves about ourselves.
Yeah.
And the story I've been telling for the past 3 years that I'd conquered my high blood pressure and health problems with diet really pleased me,
Yeah.
And I also happened to have, coincidentally, a doctor's appointment 2 days later. So I wrote to Dr. Clapper, who we've had on the show, and I said, my blood pressure is wicked high. And I also, and I confess this, the night before the blood pressure, there were some nice vegan tortilla chips that
Right.
were salty. And I had a big handful of those. And Clapper said, "Yeah, you're very sensitive to salt. That'll rocket you right up." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "So you might be okay for the doctor's appointment." I said, "I'm not going to be okay for the doctor's appointment, not with that high, not high enough to be thrown out." And he said, "Well, some mild blood pressure meds for another year or two. Remember, you're eating terribly for 60 years, and now you've been eating well for 3 years. You're not going to be able to fix everything. So some mild blood pressure meds will be okay." And so I went to the doctor, and my blood pressure was still high. And that doctor was just like, as my doctor says, if mom has brown eyes and dad has brown eyes, you might get brown eyes no matter what you eat.
And this is the doctor you had like a bet, not a bet maybe,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, you had like a bargain with that saying,
Well, I said to him when I came in, I said,
Yeah.
you're gonna win a bet you don't want to win. Because my blood pressure has not gone down, it's gone up. But nobody was upset about this. Both doctors said, these meds work, you won't have side effects, it'll be fabulous, it'll all be great. And you can try again to get off the meds, another 6 months or a year, see if your blood pressure comes down as your diet stays better. But I had this story that I'd accomplished this.
Yeah.
And I still lost over 100 pounds. I still feel great. I've still cut down from, huge amounts of meds to a very small amount of meds. But, I just wanted to say that there are setbacks in the road to health.
and that's tough. I mean, I understand that feeling of like self-embarrassment where the people aren't embarrassed for you. They're simply concerned for your health, and if you address your health, they're fine, and I think it's honestly, I think it's important because of the relationship you have with your listeners here. I'm happy you told it as candidly as you did, only because people are inspired by you and want to figure out what they can and can't change for themselves and want to attempt things for themselves. But, you've inspired so many people to address their health in positive ways. And something like this just makes you more human.
Yeah, well, makes me higher blood pressure. Does that? But I don't know. So there you go. And I was a little sad about it for a little bit, but it went away. And
how do you, like Clapper said, 60 years of eating poorly. Do you think is it still your goal to get off the meds?
Sure.
And is this something you want to keep trying to figure out?
I don't think I have to figure it out. I mean, what Clapper seems to say is keep eating right, and your body will adjust. It just takes years.
Yeah.
And a little bit of salt now and again doesn't help.
Sure.
Not one bit. I also want to say this. I don't know why I'm saying this. I think maybe just to get in trouble, just to have people hate me. Is that the only reason I'm saying this? I don't understand the Kavanaugh hearings at all.
Right.
My feeling is I did not vote for Trump.
Yeah.
I was against Trump.
Yeah.
I've spoken out against Trump.
Yeah.
I do not want Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court.
Right.
Once I've made those two decisions, why would I watch or follow the hearings at all? Why do I care? Unless I find out that he said something in the hearings that changed my mind about Trump and about Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court, very unlikely.
Yeah.
So why are we wallowing?
I think, because I had a long, discussion with my wife about it, and she actually ended up doing this. She's part of this mothers group on Facebook. They went away together to do this like women's getaway by coincidence, and all of a sudden they were having a mother's getaway when the voting was happening, kind of thing. And I think it's that, if anything, I think that because both sides played this politically,
Yeah, we needed. I would be really interested to hear one Trump supporter, who thought Kavanaugh was guilty,
right?
Or I would like to hear one Trump non-supporter, who thought Kavanaugh was innocent,
right?
Because it seemed like that's all that was breaking down. I may be wrong about that. They're probably all over the place.
Yeah, no, I'm sure there are. I think the wave of emotion is not coming just from the Supreme Court seat, but that believing accusers became that. I think that swallowed the emotion of the Supreme Court seat, and I think that the president made two choices to make sure that it was going to be winners and losers of that.
Yep.
So I think by using victim blaming in his tweets and then making fun of Blasey Ford at a rally or imitating her at a rally, imitating her answers at a rally, made sure that all the people who were reporting why I didn't report answers, stuff like that, were basically that the president ensured that this decision became a smack in the face to people who never reported sexual abuse. And I think that's why it became an emotional wave that could not be held back. The Supreme Court seat became secondary to this wave of emotion, and no leaders found a way to use language that would help that, right? And so at times maybe they tried to, and then they got overwhelmed by other bigger fish saying things in the news and things like that.
It just seems like you can't do more than be against him.
Right.
And that's what I didn't understand what they were accomplishing. But I guess there's a cathartic emotional thing that you just have to fight.
What is it? So what is it? Can of worms? Can of bees? You always say can of bees?
I always say can of bees, yeah.
I really think that it's in time. I think we'll see that as simply that like this, by the Christina Blasey Ford ended up being a can of bees of a bunch of survivors of assault, and that emotion and that wave and that particular force was bigger than what both sides were trying to actually kick around. And
I guess what I don't understand is I read news in order to learn or be changed.
Right.
And I don't dismiss victims.
Yeah.
I don't want Kavanaugh. I don't want Trump.
Yeah.
There was no information given to me.
Right.
No information.
Yeah.
And repeating information I know is, I guess it's really important to some people. And I haven't been
Yeah, I would say I hear what you're saying, and of course that's correct, and in months and years from now that will absolutely be correct. And I think for people who don't like our president, there's this constantly building powder keg of like there you go. So I'm trying to be diplomatic, and I'm a dick. I'm just trying to be as diplomatic as I can because I respect our listeners more than this, but. You want some kind of accountability to hit at some point, and it keeps not happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so this maybe isn't in time, won't be the best example of a time he could have been held accountable, but it is the latest.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's nothing good. I mean, I guess that's the thing. I knew there was nothing good about Donald Trump
Right.
before he was elected.
Right.
And it seems like, he was elected. So I'm done. I'm out of it. I don't really have
Yeah.
I've already done what I could do, which is vote against him.
Exactly.
And I've already spoken out against him. So it seems like everything else is just,
Again, I always feel like some of the, and I still believe this, I believe some of the anger that is fueled anti-Trump is that people feeling guilt of being asleep at the wheel, right? That they thought the world was one way.
Well, there's no doubt that
Yeah.
when my dad was in charge, when it was my dad's generation,
Yeah.
Trump would have never been elected.
Right.
It was me that did it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? And so, and then this
Whatever we did was wrong because grown-ups would not let Trump be president.
and then this is, again, I think there's a guilt. I mean, because of the breakdown of political votes and things like that.
Yeah.
It's just more signs of you're still being punished for being asleep at the wheel in the past.
Yeah, I guess so.
And so I think there's a guilt underneath some of the anger as well.
And maybe there also was a lot of information in the hearing. I didn't listen to it, so I don't know. I just didn't like anything about him or for that job or anything about Trump for that job. I was just out so early.
Yeah.
So early.
Yeah.
But
I followed up. I don't think we want to talk much more about it.
yeah. Obviously, I'm looking through what people have written.
There were two sports plays that happened this week that I think you would have liked.
Oh, let me hear it.
One was, and this has happened I think before, but a college team receiving a kickoff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Football.
Yep. And so they often paint the end zones the same color as the team's uniform colors.
Yep.
And so a guy lied down and camouflaged himself in the end zone so that no one would pick up on him. And then the whole play went to the other side of the field, and then they threw the ball to him, and he had like the whole side of the field to run all the way up the side. He didn't score a touchdown, but he made it very, very far. But it was he lied down and hid and camouflaged himself in the end zone, and I think you would have liked that.
Wow. And that was the plan.
Yeah, that was the play.
A professional?
College.
College.
Yeah.
Wow. They must have been laughing their asses.
And then this I know you'll love. So it's
You got a better one than that?
well, British hockey, which who knows, that alone. Did you know? I didn't.
They have the teeth for it.
Someone they pass the puck to this guy near the goalie, and it gets caught on the hip of his pants. It just sticks in his uniform, just stuck on him, which I never heard of this happening. And so instinctively, he just backed into the goal. He just moved backwards and tried to put his butt across the goal line to have the puck be in the goal for a goal. So this is a picture of this guy just looking around, and then he just freezes, and then he just slowly skates backwards into the goal, trying to score a goal. It did not count.
It didn't count?
I know. People are upset about it. They think it should have counted.
So he was not the goalie, of course
No.
not. No.
No. He was a player trying to score a goal, and they literally, there's a moment they can't find the goal, but lo and behold, it's on his butt, and he just backs in.
See, if these things happen in sports every time, I'd watch it.
You'd watch it for all these silly things.
Sure. I would love that stuff.
Yeah.
Camouflaging, having a puck up your butt.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. What else you want to cover? I wanted to talk about Jill Duffy She said, I'd never even heard of Tiny Tim before. After online researching, watching videos, and reading his Wikipedia page, I still don't completely understand who he was or what effect he had on the world. Would Penn mind spending a few minutes on an upcoming show describing Tiny Tim and sharing more about him? If he was going to pitch a movie about Tiny Tim, how would he pitch it? Tiny Tim, Herbert Khoury, Khoury,
Gary?
yeah, Khaury, Khoury. Herbert Khoury from New York. In the 50s, had hair down his back, was beaten up all the time. Probably, people doing armchair diagnosis say somewhere on the spectrum. And Tiny Tim, from the time he was a child, would sit in his room and listen to records for what he calls white man's soul, which was popular music from 1890 to 1920. Now, a weird thing happened in our country in that in the 60s, people went back not to popular music, but to unpopular music. So all of your rock and roll comes out of blues and hillbilly music and country music and does not come out of,
What was considered popular at the time?
Yeah, Al Jolson.
Right.
And what's his name? Columbo, Russ Columbo.
Oh, okay.
And those people that did all the they had hits.
Yeah.
Those hits were all forgotten. And Tiny Tim remembered all those hits and would sit in his room the whole time he was growing up, doing radio shows for himself, where he would impersonate all these people. And he hit the scene in the 60s. He already had hair down his back and wore makeup at a time that was just got beat up every day, and started to go out with his ukulele, singing in a very high falsetto, singing these hits from 1910. Okay, and there's a place that he's playing. There's a recording of it that's unbelievable. He's playing a lesbian bar called the Fat Black Pussycat, I think, in like '63. Okay, now this is when it was illegal to be a lesbian. You could be arrested. Okay, and it was completely socially unacceptable. Okay, and he was playing that bar as one of the acts. And the great thing about the introduction is, in a lesbian bar in '63, the MC is kind of apologizing for him. This is kind of a weird act.
Oh, yeah.
And he comes out. And then Tiny Tim kind of out-hippied all the hippies, even though he was a Nixon supporter, even though he supported the war in Vietnam. He was so strange. He went on the show Laugh-In, Smothers Brothers Show, Hollywood Palace.
Yeah.
And he was always completely honest. Now, Howard Stern has said, I believe publicly, but also said to me privately, he believes the best interview of his career. The best interview of his career was with Tiny Tim. And Tiny Tim is fascinating because the most cynical people of the 60s, and I mean this sometimes positively and sometimes negatively, but people who were very, very cold and shut off. Bing Crosby, Frank Sinatra, Lenny Bruce, Bob Dylan, John Lennon, then later on Howard Stern, all obsessed with Tiny Tim. In I don't remember the exact wording, but in Bob Dylan's Chronicles, part of his autobiography, he refers to Tiny Tim as the only real person I ever met. Frank Sinatra, on the back of one of Frank Sinatra's records, has a picture of Tiny Tim hugging him hugging Tiny Tim. On the back of the Frank Sinatra record, Frank Sinatra was very moved by meeting him. Bing Crosby goes out in the Hollywood Palace.
I can't imagine that's the one, right? I can't imagine Tiny Tim's honesty stripping away at Frank Sinatra. I can't even.
It was just this incredibly powerful wave that would flow over people. Bob Dylan, blown away. If you listen to one of the Beatles, all this stuff is available on the web. If you listen to one of the Beatles Christmas records, one of the last ones they did, 67 or something, they're all joking around. And Paul and George start making fun of Tiny Tim You know, this cat, da, da, da. And Paul starts doing an impersonation of Tiny Tim, which of course is, will the boat that blew her boat across the sea finally send her sailing back to me? What's that song by the Beatles on the White Album?
I'm lost. I'm sorry.
There's a song on the White Album that Paul does in falsetto that is a parody or a takeoff or a homage to Tiny Tim. Pie. Honey pie. You are driving me crazy. I'm in love, but I'm lazy. That one that Paul sings up really high. So Paul starts doing this high falsetto and George starts explaining that he plays ukulele because George loved ukulele and that he's this crazy guy. And then John says this sentence that absolutely freezes me where John goes, but he's for real, you know. And they all stop. It's this incredible moment.
Yeah.
And he was booked on Johnny Carson, and he was booked by a booker who was leaving the show. Now, it wasn't a revenge booking because this guy was hateful, but it was a booking the guy didn't care.
Yeah,
You know?
he wouldn't have done it if he were not leaving.
Probably not. He books Tiny Tim. And he comes out, tiptoe through the tulips, with his ukulele and his long hair and his shopping bag. Insane. And Johnny sees the rehearsal. And Johnny says to the booker, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Why we have this guy on the show? And the guy says, this also gives me chills. The guy says, just talk to him. Just talk to him. And he comes out on the show. He does this weird thing. He goes over, and Johnny Carson, for the first time I've ever seen an interview, Johnny Carson talks to him. He actually has a conversation where he doesn't know the answers. He's not sending up
Not
jokes.
going off the cards. And
It's amazing. And Lenny Bruce, when he died, was playing a loop of Tiny Tim. When Lenny Bruce would have, he'd fly Tiny Tim out to L.A. when he wouldn't see anybody else to sit in the hotel room with him and sing him songs. And there an old song called When Will I Be Loved that Tiny Tim had recorded for Lenny Bruce that he had on a loop when he died. And the ad, Tiny Tim opened for Lenny Bruce, and the ad that was written by Lenny Bruce says something like, I don't know the exact wording, something like, Lenny Bruce jokes for money, Tiny Tim sings for love. That was the poster. It was amazing. And Tiny Tim did the exact same act at the Fat Black Pussycat for, almost turned into Tweety Pie, Pussycat, for 20 people, 30 people, that he did at the Isle of Wight Festival for $500,000. Nothing changes about Tiny Tim. And, he's a lot of crazy stuff. He was stalking Tuesday Weld. He probably punched his mother in the face. He would not eat in front of anybody. Sexual stuff was just so weird. His marriage to Miss Vicky on The Tonight Show was the highest rated show at that time. They watched his marriage. Phyllis Diller was on with him, and she talked to me about it. The whole country decided to embrace this crazy person. And he was just so honest and so beautiful. He wore diapers. He had weird diet stuff, like all he would eat for months was cold spaghetti sauce out of the jar and then walnuts, And what I'm fascinated by is the fact
which is a diet you're kind of into right now, yeah?
Exactly. What fascinates me so much is the fact that the whole country fell in love with this guy and the fact that he could just tear through. When he was on Hollywood Palace with Bing Crosby, Bing Crosby has this kind of cavalier, snotty attitude toward him. And you're supposed to be playing this game of Bing Crosby, this is what the writers come up with, will sing any song from any one of his movies. And Tiny Tim will sing with him and then sing another song from that same movie. Now, Bing Crosby done a zillion movies, right? So Bing Crosby's out there, and he reads the intro, off the prompter, and then this is during rehearsal, and then says, well, what are we doing for songs? And Tiny Tim says, we're doing it for real. And Bing Crosby goes, you can't possibly know all the songs in all my movies. And then he does it for real. And Tiny Tim does it for real. He knows every song Bing Crosby had done. He was one of the finest musicologists you ever had. He knew every song, but all the sheet music, knew everything. And then he fell from grace. People didn't love him anymore. He went on to work circuses, you know. He went through very hard times, went through divorces. He wouldn't let anybody see him eat. And he would order room service for 6 people. And then people outside the room could hear him moving to different seats and doing different voices and eating different meals. He would have dinner parties with just himself.
Oof.
A very, very, very eccentric man.
That line about he's for real, you know,
Yeah.
is so important.
Mm-hmm.
It's a part that I think Jill and other people in Jill's position are going to have trouble with, because our perspective, our postmodern perspective, is Andy Kaufman
Yeah.
and
Oh,
Southern comedians and all these characters
yeah.
that aren't for real.
Yeah. And, and Sarah Silverman even doing a character. And even people doing, didn't even get to Steve Colbert.
No, I mean, that's beyond all of it. I mean, what you're saying is like, just talk to him, right? Or it's just like, he's so honest, it just brings you to tears. Like, that's when anyone thinks they want to go into show business, they're kind of hoping that that's it, right? Like, you're like, oh, I just want to have whatever makes me me. I just want to have it going on so much that I can just walk into a room and be worth talking to and be worth doing something.
And there's a moment that I just love where Howard Stern and Tiny Tim are talking. And I think Howard Stern says, I swear to God, or God damn it, or something.
Yeah.
And Tiny Tim, who's Christian, says, don't take the Lord's name in vain. And Howard Stern goes, I wasn't doing that, it's just expression, man. I just, He goes, you took the Lord's name in vain, don't do that. And Howard Stern goes, listen, man, it's not a big deal. It's just the way I talk, we all talk. He says, don't take the Lord's name in vain. And Howard does another whole hunk on it,
Yeah.
And Tiny Tim goes, you were taking the Lord's name in vain. That's what you were doing. Don't do it.
Wow.
And Howard Stern goes, I'm sorry. Just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Pluto TV is the leading free streaming.
I think what we're going to have to do here is stop down and set for the next show and come back
Okay.
on these ads.
Okay.
So we're going to bid farewell to
Okay.
the live audience.
And then we'll do the Robert Klein thing.
Yeah, we have Robert Klein coming in, and
Good. Is he already here?
I believe so. I need to change the set anyway.
Okay, good.
So I'm going to apologize to the live audience, but we're going to have to kill it at this point. And,
And we'll come back and do like 15 minutes, right?
yeah, and catch us tomorrow on the audio post.
Okay, good.
Thanks, everybody.
And I'm going to need some more tea, too. I hadn't even thought of doing that. I was going to just